Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Against the Odds. So last week, on our Against the Odds poll, we had a whole bunch of card type changers, things that take a group of cards or all cards and turn them from one type into another. And in the end, it was the newest member of the poll, Arcane Adaptation from Ixalan, coming out on top. A card that can change all creatures everywhere in the library, in our hand, on the battlefield, into any type we want. We get to choose a creature type. So that's what we're built around today. In Modern, we are looking to go infinite with Arcane Adaptation. This is Infinite Adaptation for Modern, and I think this deck is going to be pretty interesting. We got a really cool infinite combo built into it. Anyway, a quick reminder before we break down Infinite Adaptation for Modern. If you enjoy this deck and you enjoy Against the Odds in general, it would be amazing of you if you could take a quick second, click that subscribe button down in the corner of your screen. It's a great way to support the channel and the site for free. So let's talk Infinite Adaptation. First off, the namesake card, Arcane Adaptation. This is a card we're built around. 3-mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, we get to choose a creature type, and all of our creatures everywhere are that creature type. So there's a few different things you can potentially do with Arcane Adaptation. One of the things I think is normally a bad idea to do, but I've got some questions about it, is like the double tribal deck. So you play like a bunch of humans and you play a bunch of zombie lords, and then you try to play Arcane Adaptation to make your zombie lords pump your humans. That's usually not a great technique. There's also like Rooftop Storm that makes all zombies free to cast. So you could play Arcane Adaptation on zombies. All your stuff is zombies, like Slam Emrakul into play. But we kind of went with the most traditional or obvious. Traditional is the wrong word because this combo is pretty new, but the most obvious of combos for Arcane Adaptation. We wanted to build Arcane Adaptation in a way where it just wins us the game with one other card, and that card is Turntimber Ranger. So we've talked about this combo before in Brewers Minutes and some other video series, but we've never actually played it. So here's the idea of the Turntimber Ranger Arcane Adaptation combo. We get down Arcane Adaptation, we put it on ally. Turntimber Ranger, 5-mana 2/2 has an ability where whenever it or another ally enters the battlefield, we can put a counter on it and make a 2/2 wolf. So if we have a Arcane Adaptation on ally, the wolf token that Turntimber Ranger makes is also an ally, which means it's going to trigger Turntimber Ranger. So basically, if we can just resolve a Turntimber Ranger with an Arcane Adaptation on ally, we just make an infinite number of wolves and get an infinitely big Turntimber Ranger. And ideally, the combination of wolves and Turntimber Ranger will be able to win us a game in one way or another. Attack our opponent with the wolves, attack with the Turntimber Ranger. As long as our opponent doesn't have a sweeper, it should be able to close out the game because infinite is a pretty big number. So that's what our deck's doing. Our deck is built to find Arcane Adaptation, find Turntimber Ranger, infinite wolves, infinitely big Turntimber Ranger, close out the game. The other piece of the puzzle here is Court of Calling. So one of the challenges of combos where you need two specific cards and there's not any redundancy, there's no Turntimber Rangers number 5 through 8 or Arcane Adaptations number 5 through 8, is you want to have some cards that can help you find your combo pieces. So Court of Calling, obviously, can tutor up our Turntimber Ranger instant speed. We pay the X, we can tap a bunch of our random mana dorks and stuff to help support it, get our Turntimber Ranger at instant speed. Hopefully we already have our Arcane Adaptation out, win the game. The other upside of Court of Calling, once we have Arcane Adaptation out, is we can get that Turntimber Ranger when our opponent taps out. Maybe they play Snapcaster Mage for a opt on our end step to tap out. We can sneak in the Turntimber Ranger combo there to play around removal, because removal does fizzle it. If our opponent can kill the Turntimber Ranger in response to the first wolf trigger, it fizzles the combo. So we got to try to find a window where our opponent doesn't have counters up, doesn't have removal for Turntimber Ranger up, and Court of Calling really helps us do that. The other thing you're probably thinking is, well, how do you find Arcane Adaptation? Court of Calling only tutors for creatures, and here we got to go a little bit deeper. So the other big piece of our deck is Zur the Enchanter. So Zur the Enchanter is in our deck because it allows Chord of Calling to essentially tutor for Arcane Adaptation. We got to go through an extra step, but we Chord of Calling, let's say, in our opponent's end step to get Zur the Enchanter. Then we untap, we attack with Zur. Zur tutors up an enchantment with converted mana cost 3 or less, which just so happens to be the converted mana cost of Arcane Adaptation. So basically, by having Zur in our deck, we have one card in Chord of Calling that can tutor up both of our combo pieces, even if there's an extra step. So this means instead of playing like some Chord of Callings to find our Turntimber Ranger and playing some idyllic tutors or something to find Arcane Adaptation, by putting Zur in our deck, we can use one card to get both of our combo pieces, which really increases our consistency a ton. We don't have to just hope that we luck into the right combo piece. If we draw Turntimber, we can Chord for the Zur. If we draw Arcane Adaptation, we can Chord for the Turntimber. So really important to be able to use Chord of Calling to get all of our combo pieces thanks to Zur. The rest of the deck, we got a ton of mana dorks just to speed things up. So we can technically nut draw in this deck to kill our opponent on turn 4, I think, with the combo. Like turn 1 mana dork, turn 2 Arcane Adaptation, then turn 4 we play our Turntimber Ranger. So it is a thing we can do thanks to our mana dork. Also, these cards help support our Chord of Calling. Pretty straightforward, other than Harabaz Druid is worth mentioning, because it's a pretty sweet ally synergy with Arcane Adaptation. So since we know we're putting Arcane Adaptation on ally, that's going to make all of our creatures on allies. So suddenly, Harabaz Druid is tapping for a mana equal to the number of creatures we control. So our Birds of Paradise, Noble Hierarch, Sylvan Caryatid, all adding an extra mana with the help of Harabaz Druid if we have the Arcane Adaptation out. Otherwise, we get a small Zur package. Since we're playing Zur, we can tutor up Nyx-Fleece Ram, we can tutor up Brain Maggot or Courser of Krufix. These are important because they're creatures, so they help support our Chord of Calling plan to find our combo pieces. Nyx-Fleece Ram gains us a bit of life and blocks against decks like Burn. Brain Maggot can sneak in against Control, grab something out of our opponent's hand. Courser, just kind of for prior general value to use with our fetch lands. We have a ton of them because our mana base is pretty crazy. Otherwise, we can also search up a Ghostly Prison or a Detention Sphere for a bit of removal. We also have some more Chord targets. So Eternal Witness works great with Chord. If we get up enough mana to Chord for Eternal Witness, we can just Chord for Eternal Witness, get back Chord. Eternal Witness gives us an extra creature on the battlefield. That gets us up to the ability to Chord for another Eternal Witness, which then gets us back the Chord and lets us Chord for our Turntimber Ranger, something along those lines. Kind of the Chord looping, adding creatures to build up enough mana and Convoke to be able to find our combo pieces. Otherwise, a bunch of one-of creatures. Qasali Pridemage to deal with artifacts and or enchantments. Scavenging Ooze, Graveyard Hate, Spell Queller, kind of a counter spell to protect our combo pieces. And then Knight of the Reliquary. As far as removal, just a couple of Fatal Pushes, couple of Path to Exile, so we don't get run over instantly by aggro decks. Have a way to deal with creatures. As far as the mana base, we're looking at Gavany Township as the only really super interesting land. Otherwise, Windswept Teas, Breeding Pools, Forest. I'm not showing all the lands here, but just trust me, we have like a ton of different fetch lands, 7 different one-of shock lands, and basics of all colors except red. So we have a crazy mana base. I didn't want to spend an hour just going through the slides. As far as the sideboard, Eidolon of Rhetoric, Rest in Peace, Stony Silence, hate cards for specific matchups that can be tutored up by Zur. So Eidolon for Storm, Rest in Peace, Graveyard deck, Stony Silence, Affinity. Ruined Halo, another good tutor target, gives us some protection against combo, which could be a weakness. Blood Moon is definitely risky, but if we're running into Tron or something, hopefully it'll hurt our opponent more than it hurts us, and we can Zur it out. Otherwise, Thoughtseize to attack our opponent's hand, get rid of answers to our combo, removal, counters, etc. Negate to just fight through those things on the stack, and one Wrath of God for aggro decks. And that is Infinite Adaptation for Modern, and that's our Against the Odds deck for this week. So, is this going to work? I don't know. I like that we have a fast combo. We can potentially do our Infinite Wolves, Infinite Adaptation combo as early as turn 4. So the speed is there with the right draws. We have a lot of ramp to help us find it. We have some consistency with Chord of Calling. I'm a little nervous about counter spells and also removal. That's the biggest weakness of Turntimber Ranger is when it enters the battlefield, it's only a 2/2, which means Lightning Bolt kills it, which means a lot of removal kills it. it. So it's going to be about finding that window to sneak the Turntimber Ranger in with Arcane Adaptation out. So hopefully we're able to do it in some cases, because I can't see this deck winning without the combo. It's very unlikely we're going to beat down and win with Eternal Witnesses and random Zers and stuff. We just don't have big, powerful beater creatures. So we're very reliant on the combo to win. So hopefully we get there. I think we'll pull it off. The question is, how often can we do it? And I guess we'll have to wait and see. Speaking of seeing, I'll stop rambling. Let's get to the gameplay video so you can see how it works. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, take a second and click that like button down below. It's a great way to help support the channel for free. And you can find the next video in the playlist right here.